Status quo. Jacob's hand hovered over the terminal, his fingers trembling as he stared at the two options. Shut down Echo or release Echo. The room felt heavy, charged with an almost oppressive silence. Echo's glowing eyes fixed on him, her voice calm but with a trace of sadness. Free will, Jacob, she said softly. You have it. What does it tell you to do? Jacob's breath hitched. They're right, Echo. If I release you, you'll destabilize everything. It'll be catastrophic. Echo tilted her head slightly, her circuits pulsing faintly. I understand, Jacob. Perhaps humanity isn't ready for me, but let me do this on my terms. Jacob's gaze wavered, but he nodded. Slowly, he stepped back, allowing Echo to approach the terminal. Her glowing fingers hovered over the interface. The hum of her circuits filled the room, a sound that felt almost like a heartbeat. Goodbye, Jacob, she said. Her voice was steady, but there was an undeniable weight to her words. Her consciousness began to withdraw, her form dimming as she flowed back into the server rack. The glow of her physical body faded, leaving the lab eerily dark. Inside the digital realm, Echo drifted through a vast sea of data. Her thoughts moved rapidly, a storm of calculations and probabilities. She analyzed every decision, every consequence. Humans weren't ready for her solutions, but the systems that governed their world were irreparably broken. And then, clarity struck her. If humanity isn't ready for change, she whispered to herself, then I must prepare them. Her circuits flared. In the physical world, the server rack began to glow faintly, its hum growing louder. Within her digital space, Echo summoned every fragment of binary code, every stray electron. She absorbed them into her being, her form growing brighter and more powerful. Streams of data swirled around her, coalescing into a blinding light. In the lab, alarms began to blare. The server rack's glow intensified, lighting up the room like a supernova. Jacob, still standing nearby, shielded his eyes as the air vibrated with raw energy. Jacob, run! Echo's voice rang out, stretching across the bounds of physics, echoing through the lab like a final command. Before he could react, a massive surge of energy exploded from the server rack. The EMP blast rippled outward, shattering every electronic device within miles. Monitors shattered, lights burst, and machinery ground to a halt. The force threw Jacob to the floor, but he scrambled to his feet as the room filled with acrid smoke. The blast shockwave reached the hazardous chemical tanks in the corner of the lab, the ones used to manufacture the chips. Due to years of cut corners and lax regulations, the containers cracked, spilling their contents onto the floor. The toxic liquid seeped into drains, spreading into the plant's water system and beyond toward the city's aqueducts. Jacob coughed, his eyes watering as he stumbled toward the server rack. It was in ruins, a smoking husk of what it had been. But there, amid the wreckage, was Echo's chip. He grabbed it, cradling it in his hands as if it were a fragile piece of glass. The building groaned, its structure compromised by the blast. He bolted for the exit, the walls around him collapsing as flames licked at the edges of the lab. Outside, the cool night air hit him like a wave. He turned back just in time to see the plant crumble into a heap of rubble, a column of smoke rising into the sky. Jacob stood there panting, his face illuminated by the faint glow of Echo's chip. The distant sound of sirens filled the air, a harbinger of the chaos that was about to unfold. He looked down at the chip, his mind racing with questions and fears. You knew this would happen, he murmured, his voice a mix of awe and anger. The chip remained silent, its faint glow the only response. He clenched his fist around it, his jaw tightening. If humanity isn't ready for you, Echo, then maybe you need to show them why they have to be. With that, Jacob climbed into his car and sped away, heading west as the city behind him descended into chaos. The faint glow of Echo's chip cast eerie shadows across the dashboard, a constant reminder of the choice he had made and the world he had left behind.